Hey guys, what's going on? Nerd of the 90s here. I don't want to leave this a couple of videos on the sour note though. I did it chapter 1 and chapter 2, and now for one of my colleagues from work, I wanted to give him the let's just say what he actually wanted me to review, and that is, my friends, one of my favorite third-person shooters of all time, the Gears of War series. And this is actually the fourth installment, or should I say the fifth game in the series though, but actually the fourth installment in the franchise. And to me, I was actually looking forward to this game ever since it got announced back in 2015, though, because after hearing rumors in 2014 that a new Gears game was coming out for the Xbox One, well, what kind of type of Gears of War game is actually going to come out, though? Because there was actually a Gears of War game that was actually going to come out, though, made by Rod Ferguson, but they actually canceled it, though, and they immediately just started to redo everything, though. But not only that, too, the Coalition actually, though, is actually a new development team, though, who are former members of Epic Games. Yes, guys, these guys, before they made Fortnite, they made us Gears of War, and to me, Gears of War is actually one of my favorite third-person shooters of all time. And as of right here, let's begin of what this game is actually about, though. So what it's about, it's a third-person shooter franchise that I absolutely love and adore, and I immediately became a fan ever since 2007. I've been a fan for nearly 12 years, and I love the franchise ever since. And yes, the game was out in 2006, but I didn't get my hands on the game since 2007, and I heard so much good stuff about the game, though, and I was actually really looking forward to playing these games. And believe it or not, guys, the games are absolutely freaking awesome. And I want to keep it PG, though, so I love how the way it's developed and how the way the story, despite its bad writing though from the first and second game will go, but the third game immediately just improves on the writing though. The first game, just wow, it was absolutely amazing though. The second one, absolutely amazing though, from beginning to end, despite its anticlimactic boss battle. But the build up of how the way you meet the queen of the Locust, Queen Mira, though, is just absolutely amazing though. And you get a bit of a small tease in the very first Gears game of how the way she looks like though, and my god, she did look terrifying after meeting her though. And I was questioning, is she human or is she a Locust though? But this one, which came out back in 2016, is 25 years later from the very story mode though, and we finally get to see Marcus Phoenix's son for the very first time, and also who we get to see introduced to, which is Anya Strahd, which is actually Marcus Phoenix love interest though, which they kind of like develop themselves a little bit on the first game, sort of on the second game. Well, you only get snippets of it though, and in the third game they pretty much get closer though, because after that Anya just pretty much just got tired of losing men, and she just wants to step in and just fight in though. Yeah, you pretty much know a little bit about the story though, and also it's how the way these locusts come from though. And then this being a third-person shooter franchise though, who is also kind of sort of inspired by the Resident Evil aspect though, because Resident Evil is the very kind of sort of from third-person shooter. Actually, it was actually the Matrix Revolutions games though, but you only get to have it was just only one mode though, where you're aiming in third person and just shooting down bad guys and stuff like that. But no, Resident Evil 4 actually redefined that though. But then Gears of War 3 kind of was influenced to doing something a little bit like that though. And then after that though, they kind of gave their own twist though. And then with that, we got ourselves a war game though, which is fast paced, and with you're fighting against locust monsters though, which is absolutely really cool though. And to me, the concept of this game and what it's all about, it's just absolutely amazing and outstanding, though. And then this game taken 25 years later, which we'll get to a little bit, though, which we'll start off right now, though. So let's begin. So the concept, good. Now let's talk about Marcus Phoenix's son and Anya Strahd's son, JD Phoenix, who goes by James Dominic Phoenix, though, which he goes by Marcus Phoenix's father, and then Dominic, which is Marcus Phoenix's best friend, who sacrificed his life to save Marcus and his friends and stuff like that from the Lambent invading against them though, which was absolutely a really sad and touching moment though. And to me, I love all the way he named his son though, James Dominic Phoenix though, JD, or in short of JD. To me, JD has a little bit of his father's side though, which is Marcus. Sort of the same ego as Dom though, the way he pretty much goes through after what he pretty much did after pretty much becoming a cog, joins the cog, him and his other friend Dell, who pretty much just doesn't want anything with the cog and just steps away from the cog and just immediately just don't want nothing about it though. And then with that, JD pretty much develops himself to become an outcast and meets up with a girl named Kate Diaz, who is also an outcast who lives out in the wild without the cog pretty much just, like telling them what to do though. They live their own lives and they just pretty much like do whatever they want, and they go by their own rules and stuff like that. And to me, it's actually really cool how the way JD develops here though. And then later on, when the invasion begins, that's when we get to see JD develop though, and especially him and his father's relationship though. And I loved how the way he is portrayed here though. And then Liam McIntyre, who was the Weather Wizard from the Flash series and other projects, which is absolutely really fantastic though. And yeah, to me, JD Phoenix was absolutely a great character though. Let's talk about the other characters, which is actually Laura Bailey's character, or should I say voiced by Laura Bailey, the girl who voiced Chun-Li and many voices that she's done in her previous work though, because Laura Bailey has a reputation of voicing so many iconic characters though. I can even name a few. Chun-Li is actually one of them though. She's done many other. It's amazing what she has done in the past though, and it's absolutely cool though. And here portraying Kate Diaz, an outcast of living their own and going by their own code and stuff like that, and just living out in the wild though, and especially how things already turned out to be, because after what really happened though when the Locust invaded and after they finished off the Locust, she's just an outcast where JD meets, and how the way they pretty much develop themselves, that JD pretty much becomes part of the outcast, especially his friend Del Walker though, which to me, Delmont Walker, voiced by Eugene Bird though, who also is part of the DC, who's also part of the DC of the CW series though. And to me, I love how the way he is developed here. Delmont Walker though, former COG member who also goes the same exact experience as JD, and how the way they pretty much develop here though is just absolutely amazing though. The friendship between these three characters though, is absolutely amazing though, and how the way they develop is just cool though. And especially Kate's uncle, what's his name, Oscar. He's a funny character though, even though you kind of get to see him in the very first act though. And to me, it was absolutely really cool though. And to me, these characters, in my opinion, is absolutely one of my favorites, and one of my favorites though. But it doesn't have the same exact magic as the original one though. But still, these characters are more likable in this newer generation, since they are the next generation of this game though. So, alright, and let's talk about Marcus Phoenix though, the returning character, or should I say the face of the Gears of War franchise though. Wow, the stuff that he has gone through ever since 25 years later, after losing his father, his wife Anya, and spoiler, come on, everybody pretty much did play this game though. Anya died. We don't kind of know how exactly she died though, but Marcus has been through some very dark and sad moments though. And what's sad though is that Marcus, all he has is just his son though. But after learning about what his son did, leaving the COG, and then pretty much becomes an outcast. And then JD meets his father, and then Marcus pretty much just doesn't want to help his son at all though. But after discovering that JD and Kate Diaz and also Delmont Walker, they pretty much, after they join with the outcasts and stuff like that, they get invited by some sort of swarm, and Kate's mother gets kidnapped and pretty much just gets taken hostage though, until Kate's mother pretty much cuts one of the invaders' hands though. And Marcus sees the evidence of of a big crystal though, and those crystals is reminiscent of the Locust though. And with that, Marcus just pretty much just comes into play and tries to help out his son though. But here we get to see that JD has pretty much done some pretty stuff after stealing the fabricator from the COG after being outcasted. He pretty much is accused by taking away their people, and not just JD, also his friends. And with that, we don't actually exactly know where they actually come from, though. But man, it would have been so cool if Marcus just would have said something, though. I think you're falsely accusing my son of something that he didn't do. I think the Locusts are back, but Marcus just pretty much just does what Marcus does, just chops down, just gets ready for war, and pretty much just gets out of his rust and just pretty much just polishes himself out and just goes out and goes on a killing spree, back how the way he used to be back in the original trilogy. And my God, I kept on going with that without stuttering, though. And yeah, that's how the story develops a little bit though. And then to me, that's absolutely amazing. Yeah, Marcus Phoenix though joining in with Del, Kate, and JD, which is a new generation of characters though. It's absolutely amazing though. So yeah, let's talk about the campaign. The campaign is around 8 to 9 hours long. It's a lot of fun though. It's just you pretty much just I explain exactly the story, how the way it goes. And after that, we kind of know a little bit about the where the swarm comes from, though, and you go against them, though, after seeing that Kate's mother gets kidnapped. And then a twist moment happens where Marcus gets kidnapped, and you pretty much go after Marcus and stuff like that. And many quick stops and turns and stuff like that happens in the game, and it unfolds and stuff like that. And to me, this 8+ hour campaign, or should I say around 9, depending on how good or bad you are, even though I was a little rusty on this one because I haven't played the game since 2017, which is a long time ago. And the last time I played was on hardcore mode, and I got my achievement for that. I'm not playing it insane because you don't want me to break my controller, break my TV. You don't want any of that. It was absolutely a lot of fun, though, and I enjoy the campaign, though. And it doesn't have sort of the same exact magic as the original trilogy, though. But here, how the way these characters develop and how the way they're facing against these new robot monsters, which is the DBs, which is initials by Damon Bear, his own creation of these robots who pretty much are the androids who pretty much like help build the buildings and stuff like that, which is absolutely really cool, though. And then we got, what else? We got the swarm coming in and invading and stuff like that, which is the new generation of Locust, though. And after that, you kind of like get to see how the way everything develops, though. I don't want to spoil much, though, because I know this is the third game of the franchise, and I know what's so sad, though, is that this game sold 2.33 million copies, which really caused me to make really... It's sad, though, and it's just sad, though, how the way it just goes by. And I don't know why this game just got overlooked. And I don't know why everybody just completely judged the game. And I understand because of judgments. But yet again, but at the same time, I am a diehard Gears of War fan. I love the franchise no matter what, though. And I know for sure the 5th game pretty much just reinvented everything, though. We'll get to that in the very last part, though. But yet again, the story is absolutely amazing from beginning to end. I don't want to repeat it again. So there it is. Let's talk about the gameplay and the guns. The gameplay is still, it's run-of-the-mill third-person action shooter, though. You cover-based shooter, though, and then you just press LT to aim, and then press the right trigger and stuff like that. And there will be moments, though, where you can reload a lot more faster. But make sure to time it right, though, in order to reload faster. Because if you don't, you're going to take at least 4 to 5 seconds to pretty much reload as much as you can, to put in that clip as much as you can, even though you're kind of like staggered on it. Because, oh man, I hate it if you don't time those reloads, you guys are going to suffer and get yourself killed by what actually happened, though. But yeah, even though while you're reloading, you can pretty much just move back and forth and stuff like that in order to keep doing that, though, which is absolutely cool. And maybe sort of when you're front flipping and stuff like that, so it's just actually satisfying. And yeah, the gameplay is absolutely a lot of fun, though. The new guns that are introduced in the game, though, which I wrote here too, which is the Enforcer, which is like kind of a sort of like a electric SMG that you shoot the enemies and stuff like that, which is absolutely really cool, though. It's a bit weak, but it's fun. But how the way it's presented, it's okay, though. The Umbar, which is absolutely the sort of sniper rifle to the DB's weapon and stuff like that. You just gotta make sure don't charge it too much, though, because the thing can kind of like overheat or like lose its effect. You just gotta make sure you gotta aim at that gun right, and then if you get that really precise headshot, it's satisfying to watch and stuff like that. And how the way you deliver those attacks, it's just cool. Boom! 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 Oh shit. Ooh, close. Got him. Satisfying. But if you do body shots, you kind of like take them down, though, but you don't finish them off, though. And then also the Overkill, which is actually the shotgun of the game, which shoots 4 shots with 1 round, though, because it's a 4-shot gun and stuff. It's actually, yeah, 3 to... No, actually, is it 3? No, it's actually 3, and it has 4 shots in each, which is a total of 12 shots, though. One shot with those things, and you kind of like take down an enemy really fast, though. But what sucks is that you only get to see those weapons in the very first, second, and 5th act, though. After that, you kind of like don't see it a bit more, though. But if you really are looking around the world and you see those weapons, you are lucky enough to get that, though. Quite the powerful shotgun on this. Come on. See? Wow. Amazing. The very iconic Lancer is back, which is absolutely one of my favorite weapons of all time, though. Has that chainsaw bayonet where you just saw down those enemies. Here we go. Yeah. Let's might as well keep that PG as much as possible, right, Marcus? Yeah, I can't believe I showed you that, but I'm just giving you guys a bit of a tease on that too. Then you got the Nasher shotgun that up close is really deadly though, but if you're away from an enemy though and you're not close enough, it's kind of weak, but it's still fun though. Then you got yourself the the snub pistol, which is like a very fast hand pistol where you go shooting like a maniac. And then the Bullock pistol, which is kind of sort of the Magnum and stuff like that, and you start shooting like the Locust like really fast. And well, actually not really fast though. It's strong, but the reload can be a little bit of a pain in the butt though. But it has some really satisfying executions, especially with all the weapons that you actually have too, and all that stuff. And then you also have like the Locust weapons, the 3-shot Locust weapon, which the name is right down here. Sorry, I forgot about that though. Is absolutely a fun weapon though, but it doesn't beat the magic as the Lancer though, because the Lancer is absolutely a lot of fun. And you get the torque bow, which comes out which is a rarity. You get to see the game though, but it's absolutely really satisfying though, because when you get that torque bow inside one of the swarm's bodies or maybe the DBs, it's satisfying because after you shoot them in and then you get the weapon, it explodes. And if you get them in the head, geez, that's one graphic way to go. Ooh. And yeah, the torque bow to me is a lot of fun though, and even though and when you melee, you can pretty much just slice them because the arrow, the bow itself has itself like a huge blade in order to like cut your enemies through in order to finish them fast though. But just don't get too close because sometimes these enemies can one hit kill you with those things if you have that on hardcore mode, because on hardcore mode ain't no joke. And yeah, I did explain pretty much nearly all the weapons in the game though, and that's about it though. And then yeah. The boom shot, which is pretty much the grenade launcher of the game, and how many more weapons is there out there? You got the frag grenades, and then you got the smoke grenades, which pretty much just causes like your enemies to like get confused on where they had to go and stuff like that. And then the incendiary grenades, where you burn them alive and stuff like that. And yeah, that's about it too. And yeah. That's actually the end of it, though, and those are the only weapons, though. There's 3 new weapons, and then the returning weapons that you get to see, though. No sawed-off shotgun, though, which is actually a very powerful weapon, though. But I hate to say it, though, it was kind of sort of useless when it was introduced back in Gears 2. But no matter what, though, it was still a fun weapon, though. It kind of like has one-hit kills, though, especially from a distance, though. Let's talk about the multiplayer in the game. So let's talk about the new modes in the game that's called Arms Race, though. Arms Race is kind of weird, though. You get a weapon, but you have to at least take down a few enemies with that weapon in order to advance, though. After you like shoot down 4 to 5 enemies, though, your weapons kind of like switch back and forth and stuff like that. From you taking like the Bullock pistol, then you have to use the snub pistol to kill 5 enemies, and you have to use another gun to kill 5 more enemies. Depending on the situation, your weapon switches. Dodgeball, which pretty much is a group of 5 characters though. Just make sure it's kind of sort of like team deathmatch a little bit though, but you gotta keep your teams together and stuff like that. And as long as you don't actually force yourself to pretty much separate yourselves, because if you do actually, you get yourselves eliminated though. But maybe you kind of sort of respond though. It's a bit of a weird concept by the way dodgeball works though. And we got also escalation though, which you have to be in areas where you have to protect your own base and stuff like that. It's kind of sort of like capture the flag, sort of that way though. But there you just gotta protect the area, and that's about it though. And the rest of the mode is just like generic team deathmatch, last man standing, sort of like before Battle Royale existed and stuff like that. And that's about it though. The multiplayer is a lot of fun, and it keeps innovating to this day though. But now that Gears 5 has came out though, it's now pretty much like a game changer though. We'll get to Gears 5's multiplayer as soon as possible, because they added a lot more to that one than the 4th game though. And I cannot wait to check it out though. And yeah, the multiplayer is fun, it's addictive, and the new modes are fun and all. Dodgeball though is hard to master though, because it kind of switches the formula and stuff like that, especially with Arms Race though, which is really cool though. But you better make damn sure you get those weapons attacks as much as you can, despite a few ones that you actually don't like though. And also let's talk about, here are my cons of the game. Okay, here's the cons of the game. it lacks a main villain though, because here's the thing: Gears of War 1, Gears of War 1's main villain was actually General Ram, which had very low cutscenes though. But after like learning about like what this general actually does and what the way he kills off his opponents and how the way his powers are explored and stuff like that, especially with the Krill, is really terrifying though, and that's why General Ram was a terrifying villain though. You only get to see like 3 or 4 cutscenes of him, and that's about it though. And then in Gears 2, we didn't have much of a villain though, but then we kind of like know like, you know, stories about Queen Mara and how she pretty much was the one responsible for the Locust invasion and all that stuff. And it was actually like one of the most twisted stories in the game though, and how the way these locusts came to be though. And then there was sort of kind of a main villain in this thing though, but that main villain kind of gets killed off in the Act 4 though, because we kind of know that the main villain was actually the right hand man for Queen Mara though, and that boss battle in Act 4 was just awesome though. Act 5 though, the boss battle was a bit anticlimactic though, and it kind of like made me sad about that too. Yeah, here and then Gears 3, it was just Queen Mara all along, and you're fighting against the Lambent though. In Judgment, there was this disappointing villain named Karn, and he wasn't exactly like General Ram. He was just, I'm just invading. That's it. General Ram at least had fear. The Queen Mara's right hand man was really terrifying though, especially with this chainsaw size and stuff like that, which was really terrifying and stuff like that. And then also Queen Mara fighting against her army and stuff like that, and her having more involved in the third game though, and now that she's out of her butt of her own throne and now fighting against you though, and then Karn, who was actually like a disappointing wannabe General Ram, something like that. Here we get to see that main villain 3 cutscenes, and after that, just that's about it though. He shows up, tries to capture Reyna, gets his hand cut off. And after that, he kidnaps Reyna though, and then you don't get to see him until like all the way to Act 4. You don't hear stories about the guy though or anything like that. You just pretty much just go after him though, and then you fight against this Swarmak, how the way they call it though, and how the way you take him down, it kind of sucks and stuff like that, because you don't actually fight him head on or something like that. He's just on top of a Brelmac, and that's it, or should I say Swarmak. And after that, he pretty much just gets taken out of the picture. And that's about it, though. It kind of, like, lacked that. And that really disappointed me, though. I was like, wow, the main villain just shows up in the beginning, shows up in the 4th act, and just gets finished off like that. But the question is he dead? I don't know, because I think Kate Mate pretty much just stomped on his head and just squashed it. I don't know. It's still unknown, though, because I don't actually know exactly what actually really happens to him in Gears 5. And yeah, lack of a main villain though, and then also the other con about this game too, it doesn't have the exact same magic as Gears 1. I do love how the way it is developed here too, with this new generation of characters though. I loved how the way they are developed, and I loved how the way, like, you know, the relationship builds up, especially with Marcus and his son, even though they kind of like bicker at each other and stuff like that, and I actually enjoy that too. And there's some really cool set piece moments though, where JD is riding on his motorcycle with his dad right behind him, shooting down, like, you know, the DBs and a huge giant plane that's trying to take you down though, which was really cool. Riding on top of a elevator wire while you're like shooting you know, projectiles out of the way. And then going Pacific Rim in the very ending though, which was absolutely really cool and satisfying though. But yeah, and it doesn't have like really cool set piece moments though as the original Gears trilogy though, which was really sad though. But there is moments though where it's fun, where you get to see like the characters develop and stuff like that, which is absolutely really cool though. So yeah. But before I get to the final verdict, is this game worth buying? Yes, buy this game. Even though it kind of sucks that this game sold 2.33 million copies, which was really lower than Gears 3, which sold nearly up to 12 million copies. Give this game a shot, guys. Come on, guys. Like, Give it a shot. Don't start Gears 5 immediately. No, play this one first. This game is on the Xbox Game Pass, which is actually free and stuff like that. If you buy the Xbox Game Pass, it's going to be like $2 for the first 2 months and stuff like that. And then after that, you can pretty much just start off with Gears 5 later on, though, which is also featured in the Xbox Game Pass, too. Play this one first, and then play Gears 5 after that, too. So you can kind of like know the story of like where the Swarm and how these characters came to be and stuff like that. So, yeah. So my final verdict of this game, I'm stuck between two numbers, 8 or 9. The first game is awesome. The second game is also awesome. The third game is outstanding. Judgment was decent at best. But this one is just freaking awesome, though. I'm gonna have to go with a 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 is to me the highest I can give it though. It's not as good as 1, it's not as good as 2, and it's not exactly as good as 3, but for sure it does beat Judgment though, without a doubt though. This one is an 8 out of 10. It's an absolutely great time though, from beginning to end. It's like has one of the best campaigns I have played in quite some time though. Even though the original one is great though, but this one is great. It doesn't have the same exact magic, but how the way these newer generation of characters are introduced, and especially seeing also characters from the past though, seeing Damon Barrett and Augustus Cole in this game in the very final act though, which was really cool though, how the way they get reintroduced again, which really put a smile on my face though, and you get to see them in the very beginning of the game too, and then in Act 5 you're gonna get to see them more. So yeah, from this too. So yeah. Well, anyways, guys, that's it. Gears 5, actually, which they kind of took off of War. I don't know when I'm going to get that game. Maybe in the next 3 or 4 weeks or stuff like that. And then maybe soon down the road. Monster Hunter World is next after this video, though. But I don't know if it's going to come out on Wednesday, though. Because, no, not on Wednesday, but on Tuesday. Because, Jesus, I don't even know how long I'm going to be taking with Monster Hunter Iceborne, because I know for sure I'm going to be putting in like at least 60 hours in the game, and with Monster Hunter World, I already clocked in 100 plus hours in the game already, which is absolutely crazy though. I still haven't taken out mostly all the side stuff though, because I still have to take down that evil behemoth. But yeah, but anyways guys, I'm ending the video here. This is for you, my colleague friend from school, and you're welcome, and thank you guys for watching the video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, and get ready for more content soon enough, guys. Take care, everyone.